There starts to be a sense of simplicity in life when you trust in the one who created you. Trust in what is written for all of us. Faith that is in our best interests. Allah knows best. Stop rushing. Everything is already written. We leave our doubts in the hands of the Lord who knows best, who knows us best. Maintaining faith in the most wise, most just. We don't know what comes next in this dunya, but we do know what comes afterwards. Placement of relief because we know we were created with purpose. Exhaling from opposing stress of worldly timing. We are moving towards something much larger than us. Accepting any additional lessons, blessings in this life to be a temporary gift for a monumental destination. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so happy that you're here. May Allah also continue to bless all of us with guidance, with wisdom, with good judgment, and with barakah inshallah. If you're new here, my name is Nadifa, and on this channel we discuss my personal experiences as well as views that I have or just topics that I would like to discuss, but all told through an Islamic perspective and a creative approach. But by creative, I mean by poetry, by film, or any type of artistic avenue that I believe helps enhance the message that I'm trying to say, as well as create some source of inspiration for the viewers that are watching. So if that's something that's interesting to you, feel free to stick around. We'll love to have you. I've been doing a lot of reflecting on myself, and I realized that I have a disposition to be quite impatient. And that may have something to do with me being in my early 20s. That may have something to do with me simply being human. I think as humans, we're kind of created to be impatient and not really be that gracious all the time. And simply always wanting to jump to the next achievement, the new job, this new connection with someone, this new, whatever the case may be, this new career opportunity. We have a deep desire to want newness. And I think that it's beautiful to be goal-oriented. I think it's beautiful to be ambitious and always wanting to improve yourself. Alhamdulillah, I think that's a beautiful thing. But I think what makes it quite problematic is when you're unable to sit in the blessings that you have received and be in full gratitude that you've received it. If you were to receive everything that you are currently praying for right now, do you think you'll be ready? The humble and reflective answer should be no. Simply because as believers, we understand that we are required to be molded in order to be ready to receive whatever blessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give us. We have to be molded. If I am praying, if I'm making dua for something that my present self is not ready for, there's a few lessons and a few experiences that I must undergo in order to be ready to receive that, right? But I think at times we rush because we want to move on our own timing. I think humans could be very selfish and egotistical, and sometimes that's just our innate disposition, but it isn't something that is beneficial in the long run. Because if we're being quite honest, all of this rushing is just plastered and filled with doubt. Doubt within yourself, doubt that you believe that it's possible, doubt in Allah, subhanallah. If we're being honest, there's this quote that I know that I think about quite frequently, and it goes something under the lines of, I might be butchering it, the fastest way to do anything is slowly. And I think that is such a simple and straightforward quote, but it holds so much phenomenal weight. I think that I don't know why collectively and in just certain avenues we believe that quickness and efficient movements and like how fast someone is able to accomplish something is vindicative on someone's success, or that should be something synonymous with success. But that's just simply not true. The way that our life progresses in this dunya is already written. The most compassionate, the most merciful, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most just, the most wise, the most knowledgeable. We should be honored. SubhanAllah, we should be honored. And I think that the moments that we want to rush, it really comes from insecurity and it comes from doubt. You know, it's an idea of wanting to prove yourself to the world and prove yourself to yourself, maybe even. But think about it like this. I'm going to give like an analogy, an extended metaphor, if you will. If you are creating a garden, you're putting a lot of your time and your energy towards this garden. And if you know anything about harvesting and growing crops and growing botanical items, it takes a while. So if you were to be growing this garden, you will be ripping out every single time your crop or your plant grows just like a tiny inch, just to prove to others, I am indeed a gardener. Do you guys get that? You're trying to pull out every single plant and crop that you have gotten, sometimes even prematurely, just to prove to others that you are indeed a gardener. But why do we need to prove anything to anyone? You know, and I think sometimes the paths that we want to go on, it does not make sense to the next person. But I think with us humans and having this external need to want validation from others, we always are trying to consistently prove ourselves. But the truth is, the only one we need to be searching for approval for is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not everybody else. We do not need everyone else's opinion in order to signify that we are indeed great and that the plan for us is indeed beautiful. You most definitely are going to have people in your life that are going to view the decisions that you make from an outside lens and think that what you're doing does not make any sense. And sometimes people even want to put in their inputs. And I think for someone that isn't grounded in the decisions that they're making and also having trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll want to overly prove yourself to everybody, right? But every decision that you make is not going to make sense to everybody else, but that's because it's not their path. And there's no need to rush and be hasty to try to hurry up and go to finish whatever achievement that you're trying to do or whatever goal that you're trying to meet just because you want other people to understand it. For an example, when we think of Prophet Noah alayhi salam, and when he was instructed to build this boat, everyone was looking at him like, what is wrong with him? What is he doing? Why is he doing it? There's no water near us. This man is crazy. And this isn't like a small project. The boat was huge. So this took days and time and layouts and blueprints and dedication and consistency, while everyone simultaneously is not understanding why. And also viewing it as, oh, he is absolutely out of his mind. We all know how the story went and how that boat was most definitely crucial and needed. But that's just an example to go to show that not everyone's going to understand your path, but that's not the purpose. And honestly, I'm convinced that majority of our idea to rush is to prove something to others or ourselves, because we are insecure of the what, the when, and the how. Like, how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Just being so anxiously filled that we aren't able to just sit back and trust in the qadr of Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la alladhi khalaqa fasawwa walladhi qaddara fahada walladhi akhrajal mar'a faj'alahu ghutha'an ahwa سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى.
Hello guys, so we're back. Location is a little bit different. We're in this nice little cozy nook. I have some coffee. It's decaf. It's not good. I didn't have any creamer nor sugar, and the grain is not that good. And I didn't want to put too much in, mainly because I ran out of tea. So, you know, us Somali girls, we love tea, but I didn't have any more, so it's a little bit of a yikes. This is the final section of this video. If you've gotten this far, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. But we're going to wrap it up by talking about supplication and prayers and really internalizing the fact that it holds so much weight. As a believer, supplication, prayer, dua, and us directly talking to Allah Azza is our weapon in this dunya. There's nothing else that provides a more substantial shield like dua does. Nothing else. I don't think about how much the smallest dua can make a huge difference. And I noticed that for myself, when I was younger, I used to make dua for like tangible things and material items or, you know, achievements and things like that. But now, I make dua for those things too, of course, you know, ask Allah Shaja for, you know, anything that you feel like would be beneficial to you. But I found myself asking for the most simple things, like guidance. And we know that guidance is something that will be granted to us every single time we ask, subhanAllah. It's every single time we ask for guidance, we're going to receive it. And I think that the more, I'm sorry, I got my computer here trying to make sure she doesn't like sleep on me, because I will talk up a storm and get off track. So this is keeping me here as like a little bit of a guide to make sure I'm hitting on my bullet points. As believers, since we engage in supplications so frequently throughout our day, we could be in our car, we can be in the living room, it could be after prayer, we're always making dua that we forget the magnitude and the greatness and how every single dua is heard and nothing goes unmissed. And I think that that's another portion of us feeling the need to rush and feeling angsty, is because we believe that Allah is not hearing us and the things that we want are not on its way. Just something I love to think about a lot anytime that I'm doubtful is two things really: that there isn't a single leaf that falls from any tree in this world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not aware of. If we were to sit just like your nearest tree, this tree near your front yard or your backyard, and you were just to watch it, and just one tree, one singular tree, and watch the leaves and document each leaf that were to come down from your tree. Each leaf. It may be a bit of a daunting task. Maybe, you know, when it's not windy outside, or when, you know, when one leaf's falling at a time, but let's say it's windy and let's say it's autumn and so many leaves are falling off, right? So let's put that in perspective, that Allah Sojo is aware of every single leaf that falls from every tree in this dunya. Every tree. And you think your dua is not being heard? That is just a fraction of the capability of our Lord. The fraction. And we believe that our du'as are not being heard. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. I think I try to make sure that I remember that if I were to see in hindsight everything that Allah has done for me, if I were to see in hindsight every single ounce of my journey and the ways that I've been protected and guided and shielded from so many ways of harm, you know, and disappointment and grief, or even if I do endure those things, the ways that I was shielded from other potential avenues in this life, I would be in so much gratitude and be so thankful, right? And it's really interesting because it is really truly minor shirk to think that your Lord is not all capable, and that your timing is the best timing, and that you want to rush. And if I make this dua, I want this to happen right now. I want it to happen right at this very second. SubhanAllah. We need to start approaching our du'as and just approaching prayers and approaching just the ways that we want things in this life with just more humility. It truly is impossible to simultaneously be eager to move forward and to be in a state of rushing while simultaneously being grateful. It just doesn't work that way, right? And I think that like approaching dua and prayer and supplication and all of these beautiful things with more humility, it allows us to be more patient and trust that Allah knows best on when we need to get these things. Like, trust me, there's a lot of things in this life that I am so grateful for, and there's things in life that I know within myself that I can improve on. I have just been blown away by the ways that they turned out, and it being like vastly different but on the same trajectory of what I prayed for. I typically love to, like, at the start of every year, maybe every quarter up within the year, to write a very, very well descripted letter to myself on future plans, things that I would love for me, my family, for my loved ones, the ways that I want to become more devoted in my faith, like just a plethora of things. And every time I look back at it after, time has gone past, I'm always blown away. Now, I mean, everything doesn't come to be that's on this paper, of course, but for the things that do, it blows my mind the way that they unfolded. When you're not being conscious of how powerful dua is, it can honestly probably put a damper on how efficient they come. I mean, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but that feels like that's kind of in alignment, because I feel like if you're praying for something and you're simultaneously doubting the one who's going to give it to you, I feel like there's kind of like a bit of a tug and pull in that spiritual exchange, if that makes sense. And I feel like just us humans, we're so eager, and we're so ungrateful. I feel like one of the problems why we may not sometimes see that all of our du'as are being heard is because sometimes we look at du'a as a last resort. We only make du'a when things are just at its lowest and at its hardest. And I mean, of course, make du'a during those moments. Of course. Pray more during those moments. Pray istighfar during those moments. Of course. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we're not only leaning on Allah subhanahu when we're in desperate need, but also too when we receive good things as well. I think that it becomes habitual in that way of like, when things are going bad, you immediately lean on Allah, but at the same time, when Allah calls us 5 times a day, we're late to pray. You get what I'm saying? Like, as soon as we hear the adhan on our phone or outside or wherever, as soon as we hear, why are we being sluggish towards it? But when we make supplication, we expect Allah to answer on a dime. How disrespectful. Right? How disrespectful is that? And I absolutely know, like, the unknown is scary. When you're in the funk, it could be pretty funky and it's scary. But I think with understanding how frightening all of that can be, trusting in Allah will bring you solace, and I mean, I'm trying to lean on that more myself. I really am. And just how we said before, like, we're eager creatures, we're impatient creatures, and we crave newness. We have a desire for that. But I think in this dunya, it's a challenge and a battle to balance and control our nafs, and being able to be honest, treat our nafs like a little baby. If you were to have a toddler and the toddler was like, I want candy, but it's like 10 p.m. Not to give this baby candy, so that baby is just going to have to cry a bit, because what's best in this particular moment. What's best is for them to get a glass of water because they're going to go to sleep, and really it's past their bedtime if they're a toddler and they're up that late. But getting the point, right? And in that case of it being a toddler and the next person being an adult, in that scenario, the adult knows, a little bit more wisdom than that baby. And so there's certain things that the baby sees, and it's like, I don't understand why you will not give me this Kit Kat right now. I want it, right? But there's wisdom behind not giving a baby Kit Kat when it's like at night. You get what I'm saying? And so with that analogy being applied, we are incomparable when it comes to the wisdom of Allah. Incomparable, like not even by a long shot. And so for us to second guess and to doubt and to try to rush, it's just, I keep saying it's disrespectful, but that's simply what it is. It's minor shirk, really, to even go further than that. It really is. And we need to check ourselves when we do that. We really do. And to never stop making dua. And make dua when you're having the most regular, simple day ever. When you're having the best day ever. When things are really hard and it's complicated, make dua. And truly remembering that everything happens for a reason, and Allah Subhanahu has a bigger plan for us. And everything that is done for us, whether that is good or bad subjectively, it's for our benefit in some capacity, whether it's something for us to learn in this scenario or whether it's something for us to gain and utilize in a beneficial way. And also, even for the bad scenario, lessons to be learned to use in a beneficial way. In both scenarios, there's something to gain, subhanAllah. There's something to gain in every single one of them. So, really sitting in a state of gratitude for everything will allow things to come into your life with ease, because you would never feel without. And so when things come, it's just, it makes things all the better. And also too, something I've learned is to not try to rush and force things that, doesn't feel like it's right or it's from Allah. Sometimes you could be handed silver platters with glove hands, and it's not really coming from the best places, right? And so being able to decipher that is something that is really huge too, because I think, what's the saying? What all glitter is not gold. I think a lot about, see, this is me going on a tangent, but I think a lot about people that get these really big brand deals or these really big media deals and all these things, and sometimes they're so deprived of resources that they will take anything that's handed to them, and sometimes they're not from the best places. And I think that when you're not in true gratitude, and also in alignment and have a strong iman, it's easy to just take anything from these glove hands. And by these glove hands, it's anything outside the realms of Allah. You get what I'm saying? And so I think that with eagerness, you can make so many mistakes and really pick at opportunities that really is going to fumble into a lesson. And it might not have been the best, opportunity. But, like how we said before, everything is in the qadr of Allah. So, maybe the learning experience was just as necessary. Dua is the only thing, supplication is the only thing that has the ability to alter the qadr of Allah. There is things that are set in stone, there is things that set, finished, done, written, but there is things that have a bit of flexibility to it. And Allah hears everything. And Allah knows our hearts. Allah knows you better than the back of your hand, and even saying this is making my heart really filled, because we are so grateful no matter the situation that we're in. If our heart is beating and we're still here and we still have a chance to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better than we did yesterday, then we are considered blessed. Okay? With all this rushing and eagerness, you will find yourself running in place. And it's just so much more efficient, honestly, to just do things with grace and a little bit more slowly. Simply because things are going to come your way when they're supposed to, and rushing it honestly will not get you nowhere. That I take this from experience of being someone who could be hasty with decisions sometimes, and just hasty in general, even just with just day-to-day life things. And it's, as I'm getting older, that is something that I'm getting better at, and being able to cultivate a more smoother and graceful ways of handling problems and life situations. But trusting in Allah is the biggest catalyst to being able to cultivate that change. And I've just been trying to lean on it more. And also too, I want to really inform and push that I am not trying to be a teacher here, y'all. I really hope that that's not how I'm being portrayed. I just be going through things and be learning little life lessons, and I'll be maybe other people wouldn't mind hearing it. So yeah, Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have a few announcements. So for the whole video that you just watched, there is an article that I have online published on medium.com. The link's going to be down below. It's just something that I wrote that's synonymous with this video. If you're a fellow reader like myself, you can mind checking it out. It's a free platform. I'm going to make sure that it'll be easy to access. Another update is I was recently on a podcast with my sister's channel. I'm going to put her link and all of the things down below. She's brilliant. You can check out that video and all of her other videos as well. She is absolutely incredible. And another update, thank you guys for 11,000 subscribers. Alhamdulillah. Oh my gosh. What? That is incredible. SubhanAllah. Like, that is, I'm blown away by the support, by the love. It's been, it hasn't even been 90 days. So I'm just incredibly blessed. I appreciate you guys so much. And what can I say? Alhamdulillah. All praise to Allah. All praise to Allah. Thank you guys so much. I hope we continue to grow, and I hope our community continues to be as loving as it is. It's so loving and so sweet and so like collaborative, and I just love it. I just love it. But I hope you guys like this video. That is all for today. I'll catch you guys in the next one.